Everyone in the service industry has a story, crazy customers, wild orders, and those WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring you those tales from behind the bar. My name's Carl. I've been bartending now for 14 years, hospitality industry for 20.
My name's Riley, and I did not work in the hospitality industry that long.
But
I have done it.
You have done it, but you have a nice, behind the scenes.
Yes.
Hear all my stories, hear all my complaining all the time.
Yes.
Sweet.
And I also sit on the guest side of the bar frequently.
Yes, you do. Looking all cute and stuff.
Gross.
Waiting for a free drink.
Yes.
You fucking asshole.
Stop giving them to me and I'll stop waiting for them.
But you beg me and you got those pretty blue eyes.
They're blue?
Wait, what color? So what we like to do on this lovely little podcast is read stories about the hospitality industry through the eyes of a guest or the employee, talk about it, should have been handled differently, how it could have been handled differently, and just have a good time with it. Then we rate that story 1 through 5, 1 being your average story, 5 being your holy shit. I can't believe I just heard that.
Right.
And we like to have a guest. It's been a while since we've had not a normal guest, because they are normal guests, but like a normal episode with a guest.
Yes.
Normal episode with a guest.
Yes.
We have Ian Anderson today. How are you doing today, Ian?
I am great. How are you two?
We are doing great.
Yes.
Well, I'm doing great. I don't want to speak for you.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. See, you're not great. You're just good. See?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we met, we are on our last episode, one of our last episodes with Billy. He talked about having an Instagram group chat of people entering in this year's world-class bartender competition. And that is how I met you, sir.
Yeah.
So how did you,
it was
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, so it was just really dope to be included in that. And I've got a feeling that that's going to bleed into your question. But yeah, it's what I love is getting to meet people. That's literally what this is about for me, is the outward aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So how did you get into that group? How did you, let's first peel or pedal backwards real quick. Who are you and what do you do? How about that?
I am Ian Anderson. I am a career bartender. Emphasis on the career bartender because my current money-making job is managing a cigar bar in downtown Chandler, Arizona, called Puro Cigar Bar. I also run a cocktailing Instagram and am involved with a company that does pop-ups very sporadically now called Rad Mixology.
Rabbit Mixology?
Rad. R-A-D.
Rad. Okay.
Yeah, and it used to stand for something, but I don't remember what it was because it's been a long time.
It's all good. You've seen the movie Rad though, right?
Yeah. I had the little, what was it? The soundtrack on 8-track for 3 years. And then I realized that I don't need to have this anymore. So I got rid of it. But hell yeah, I've seen Rad.
There we go. So then how did you get into the that group on Instagram? So
I went out for World Class last year, and it's been kind of a wild journey for me. I know that's been talked about with other guests that you've had, but basically it's like a funnel, right? So different, not brackets, but different stages. So you apply for the first top 100. And what was nuts is that I got a phone call, I think 4 weeks before I didn't get into the top 100, but I got a phone call 2 weeks before, 4 weeks before the deadline. That's basically hey, number 100 dropped out. So do you want to do it? And I was like, all right, cool. So now I'm number 100, I guess, instead of 101. Didn't get into that. Honestly, even when I did my submission to get into 30, I was just dude, this is so weak, especially the two other bartenders from Phoenix that got to go, Crispy and Maxwell. We did a night before everything was due kind of party, and they presented their stuff. And I was just I'm fucked. I didn't have enough time to do this. It's whatever. I'm in the company of amazing people, submitted it, got the sorry email, totally expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so World Class is over the course of a weekend. Starts on a Saturday. I got a phone call Thursday morning that the person ahead of me dropped out. So I ended up having 48 hours to throw together what everyone else had 4 months to do and go and compete. And it was really intense. I wasn't the only person that happened to. There was somebody else from our West Coast bracket that got it 5 days earlier than me. Name's Ashley. She's up in Portland. She was dope too. But both her and I basically got well, shit, it's time to rise to it. You know what I mean? And I ended up.
So let's make this clear, just to make sure.
Yeah.
You were 101, more or less, and then
Yep.
you got asked to be put in the 100 because someone or a couple of people dropped out.
Yeah.
Then a couple of people dropped out from the top 30. So that means you were like 31 or 32 on some bullshit that you say because like you weren't prepared. You just submitted something and then you got to go do the top 30 then also.
Oh, for sure. And it was what's really funny.
I was just making sure that's
yeah.
No, I got you. Yeah. No. And what's funny about it too is like everything is like until we get the brackets or the judgment back for like at least for the top 100, they put us into percentiles. So we still didn't even like know where you sat. But that is my favorite joke is like I was 101 and then I was apparently 32 because Ashley was ahead of me. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And so when I got there, I was like a bundle of nerves as much as I could be. I was actually so stressed I couldn't be nervous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But ran into Maxwell immediately when we got to the hotel. That was great. Crispy, I sent him a thing that Thursday morning, which was just like, hey, you want to see something dope? And I sent him the I'm top one or top 30 thing. Like to his credit, he didn't text me back. He immediately called me and was just like, what do you need help with? Like, which is
right.
phenomenal, right? So I already had like these two great people in Phoenix that were willing to like help me out and go to bat and be supportive. And then I got to Denver and everyone there was the same caliber of person. Like it was amazing. The support and like just positive outlook on literally everything that I got from everybody. So it wasn't even just like, oh man, that's really tough. Good luck. No, like everyone was just like, you can absolutely do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Billy, after one of our, I know they went over like how the competing works. So I went and did one of my rounds. I came back and Billy's like, I looked at your Instagram and I was like, all right, dope. And he said, we should talk about music. I was like, yeah. So turns out Billy and I would have, without World Class, would have been friends anyway. Like we have super similar like taste in virtually everything. You know what I mean? And so when the time rolled around for like this next World Class thing, the next submissions for 2025, he threw me in that group, which was a huge honor because I have been very insular with my bartending, which I'm sure that'll come up in a little bit. But like a lot of it was self-taught for a long time until I got into better habits and worked at more quality places that would encourage that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so to just kind of go from like a babe in the woods relying on YouTube to having someone that I had known for like 2 months be like, oh, you're so cool. Here's my other cool friends. That was like really flattering. Like it was, emotions. They're stupid, but I have them now.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool people in that group. I mean, I don't know I've never met anyone else besides just being in that group, but one of the guys has a really other popular Instagram fucking channel. Something not TV or something, I think it is. But he works at Spoon and Stable up in Minneapolis, where World Class US winner 2021 Jess is from. So, but do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Same deal. I know who you're talking about because of the TV, but yes, you're the first person I've talked directly to outside of Billy in that whole group.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll have some of those guys on because they're just busy bartending. So anyways.
For sure.
All right. So what we're going to do is Riley's going to read a story and then we'll talk about it. Oh, wait. What are we drinking? Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ian, what are you drinking, sir?
So fun fact, I don't drink for reasons for another podcast, but I am teaching a old fashioned class tomorrow. So this is using one of the ingredients that I over prepped. It is a smoked honey and black tea limeade.
Oh,
Sweet.
nice.
That sounds really good.
It is. I'm happy with it.
There you go.
Yeah.
We are drinking a little muffin. It's from a local brewer here in town called Dimensional. It's a sour ale, blueberry muffins, and blueberry puree.
Ooh.
It's 6.8. It's not too bad.
Very sweet.
It is sweet for sure. But well, cheers, bud. Thanks for being on.
Cheers. Absolutely.
All right. Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
Would you like to start us off?
I sure would. I have a post from the Bartender subreddit. It was posted 2 months ago from Fastball BC.
Sweet.
And it's titled, Maybe My Favorite Thing I've Ever Said to an Unruly Customer.
Oh, can't wait.
And it's a rant. Here we go. You know I can't escape you, right? He had been having a semi-civil conversation with me about sports, but had gotten to the point of intoxication where I said, Team A is my favorite team. And he was just being a 6-year-old saying, Team A sucks. Why do you like Team A? And then I say what I like. And within 30 seconds, he'd come back to Team A sucks. Why do you like Team A? While I'm trying to close. And we went around and around like that 6 or 7 times because I like sports, but this wasn't about sports. It was about this person choosing to be in a mood and putting it on me. We could have been talking about anything and this guy would have acted like this. And then I just said, I can't escape you, right? And I was honestly shocked at how mind blown this guy was. And I continued to say in so many words, I'm trapped here with you. You're the only one who can leave. I have to stand here and act like I want to engage with you so you give me your money. And he said sorry and then tried to ask the same question again about the sports. And I said, no, I'm done. And he actually shut the fuck up and it was incredible. I was happy I found a silver bullet to end the conversation, but I also hate that this job leaves no option but to be mean sometimes.
I've never related to that story ever.
Not once.
Not once. You, Ian, ever have something similar to that?
I mean, I'm going to go with no, I've never related to that, but I know that we talk more about our feelings when we rate it. So I'm just going to go with no, I've never experienced being overwhelmed by people's bullshit when I'm trapped back there with an asterisk that we'll revisit. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, especially you live in a sports town. Us, we don't. So we actually we get that a lot more. Like this lady yesterday, I'm at the wine shop, and I'm cleaning up, and she goes, I said something like, sorry, I just got done watching football. I'm watching football. My head's not right here right now. She goes, how are the Packers doing? I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I go, because I don't care about the Packers.
Right.
And she goes, well, then who do you care about? And I go, the Colts. But I thought everyone lived, it's just like,
I thought everyone who lives in Iowa likes the Packers.
No, I'm like, no, it's a mixed bag, but
we don't have a sports team.
Yeah. But
I'm from Nevada, so I feel that and that was a big thing too, because I didn't bartend when I lived there, but when I moved to Arizona and started, it was like, who's your team? Like, I literally don't have one because, especially at the time, I was like, there are no sports teams, and technically there still aren't. I guess the
Raiders.
The Golden Knights count because they're from Vegas, but the Raiders are from out of town, right?
Right.
Whatever they're talking about bringing another team in, I don't know because I don't sports, you know what I mean? But yeah, I feel that whole assumption about like, oh, you gotta love one. No, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah. But on this particular story, why do guests just want to keep just poking the bear, just like you said earlier, beating the dead horse?
Yeah.
When this bartender's already like, it's just sports, man. Like, who gives a shit?
Right.
But like, if they're already like in a bad mood and they're drinking more and more, they're just going to be like, they just laser focus on this one small, minute detail.
Yep.
But I mean, it is sad though. Sometimes like it sucks that you have to respond as an asshole to these people to tell them to shut the fuck up.
But to be fair, like that is a great thing to say. I can't escape you, right?
Right. Like I'm stuck behind 3 feet of fucking wood.
I am trapped here.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to your bullshit.
For sure. And that's, I think for me, like a lot of it is like, it is that proportional response because there is a point where like you just you can shrug stuff off and all that. But eventually like you're in a fucking cage. Like you can't, you know what I mean? And like,
right.
You got to look out for yourself for a variety of reasons. And sometimes it's just like, man, I have talked to you like an adult 20 minutes now, however long it is, you know what I mean? And sometimes you got to push them into the cold water. You know what I mean? Like I have to lower my temperature really fast now because goddamn, you're not getting it, Yeah.
It sucks when they're in the middle of the bar, but like if they're at the end, you can at least kind of stay on the other end, if you're not super busy, like,
for sure.
It's like it's chill. You can kind of like leave that area alone. Like I had this one couple basically tell me that Riley and I more or less got married so I can have health insurance and whatever, there's obviously other reasons too, but that was like the major one. And I told them that and they said, nope, you get married so you can create children and live through Jesus's eyes. But what's funny is 15 minutes prior to that, they told me between the two of them, they are on marriage 5. There's 5 marriages between the two of them. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I just want to tell him, like, well, what part did Jesus say to give this a whirl 5 times? You know, like one of them, I'll say, you know, probably maybe a partner passed away, right?
You know what?
Still,
we can understand one.
But I just like, once they said that and that I got married for the wrong reasons, I'm like, well, we all get married for different reasons. And like, no, you need to get married for one reason. I'm like, and I just walked away and barely, like, here's your ultra. I walked away every time. But
for sure. Yeah. And I think that's kind of a big part of it with, you know, talking about de-escalation or like proportional dickness, I guess, for however else to put it. You know, there is like that element of like, when you can escape, it's dope, you know, and like when you can't really fault somebody for like, when you do feel trapped, like, right. When you are trapped, when you are cornered, things might get irrational, and it doesn't sound like this got irrational fast in that story. Right. But like, it is part of the job sometimes, like advocating for yourself, which, you know, a lot of people will definitely have trouble with, or the bartender is also a huge dick and they're not advocating for themselves. You know what I mean? It is kind of I don't know this poster. And so like, sorry, user, whatever on Reddit, like, I'm not trying to come down on you, but like, you know, I've worked with a lot of bartenders where it is the like, well, if you smell shit all day, check your shoes type of thing, you know, because that has been like really interesting, just like that kind of professionalism, especially post COVID, because what I love about this industry is that like really skilled quality people are taking no shit when they don't have to anymore. And so there are a lot of places like, oh my God, I'm perpetually hiring and I can't find anybody good. It's just like, well, maybe you should think about why that is, right? Like this job isn't for everybody. And when you are stuck hiring people that aren't qualified or can't make it, you know what I mean? And on the flip side, from like my professional, like working as a bartender side, like I have seen some people just totally burn out their careers when before they were coasting on, you know, who they know or whatever, but now their resume is going to be under scrutiny because like, oh, it's fucking dope that you've opened 20 craft cocktail places. Wait a minute. Why have you not stayed at any of those 20 places that you've been? You know what I mean? Right. And like, it is a skill, like finding when to escalate and when not to escalate, you know?
I mean, you are always gambling when you're trying to, or when you do like stick up for yourself or like. For
sure.
You're gambling every time because you never know how this person's going to respond. But at the end of the day, I don't care anymore. Like, look, man, you can, as long as I'm respectful, I just de-escalate or try to de-escalate in the best possible way. It is what it is. I've just learned if I just kind of poke fun at them, you know, like they soon get it. Like, oh, he's being an asshole. Why is he being an asshole towards me?
Wait, maybe I'm being an asshole.
You know?
Yeah, but you have the privilege of dangly bits to be able to do that.
Like, what do you mean?
You have a dick, so you can be a dick.
Yeah,
for sure. So much harder for women to advocate for themselves that way. For sure.
Yeah. Well, because then you're a bitch, or any other slew of words, and then it just gets worse. It just gets worse.
Yeah.
But hopefully you have another person with dangly bits to back you up.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Or you're 6 foot tall like me and people are afraid of you. And then that's generally helpful.
I'm 6'3" and I'm afraid of you.
You should be.
But yeah, the poster did a great job of like handling the situation. Not because they could have went south real quick.
Right. Well, it sounded to me like it was more of an exasperated, like, listen, you know, I can't escape you right now. And I can't escape you.
Right.
Shut the fuck up.
Right.
So many times I wanted to say, shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's really it too, is that like, that wasn't the automatic response, right? Like the second time they ask, why do you like whatever sports this is? And your response is like, I already fucking told you. Like, no, you don't need to respond like that. You know what I mean? But you know, it is that whole respect is earned, not given thing. And, you know, I always start with the benefit of the doubt that whoever is at my bar is rad as fuck because they came to my bar and I'm rad as fuck. So they were probably rad as fuck too. But sometimes they're not, you know, and you know, once they start to kind of prove that, you got to you have to deal with the occasion as it arises. I don't want to say regulate because that sounds like a little bit too aggressive. That sounds like the wrong kind of door guy you don't want to handle. You know what I mean? But it's more like, remember why you're there, remember why they're there. And then you've got to sometimes you do have to push that back down into whatever framework it's supposed to be without it getting weird, because people will get weird real fast.
Yeah. Well, and I think respect is maintained, not expected, not earned, not given, because I feel like as a person, everybody who I encounter deserves some amount of respect because we are face to face, and I'm just going to respect you because that's what we should do. But it's your job to make sure it stays that way.
For sure.
I'm not going to take shit from you. You're not going to take shit from me.
Yeah.
So don't expect me to do that. Maintain the level of respect that you get just for being a person. I can go lower,
right?
But I don't want to.
And just sometimes alcohol, if they've been there for 2 or 3 hours, your level of compensation of just remembering that throughout, okay, maybe I'm not being respectful anymore.
Right.
Just as a human being.
Well, alcohol tends to make people less respectful of others or more respectful of others, depending.
Right.
But less is generally the key.
Less is
all the limiters will fall off if you're not careful, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Because he's probably in that mind state of we haven't even talked about this. Why just, you repeat, right? Forget he's talked about this already, but whatever. Or he just feel like his voice wasn't heard. Ugh.
Or he's just a Cowboys fan. Why do you like anybody but the Cowboys? The Cowboys are America's team.
America. All right. So
fuck yeah, dude.
On a scale of 1 to 5, Ian, what do you rate that story? And you can go to the 100th decimal point if you want to.
So I think given everything that we've talked about, just as a novelty thing, I think I'll put it at a solid 3 in terms of wait, is 1 to 5. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the scale, but I'm thinking, I feel like that's a really common thing that we can all identify with, right?
That would be closer to a 1 then. 1 is your everyday, I see this all the time. And then 3 would be man, I see this thing maybe once or twice a year.
Dope. Okay.
Maybe once a month.
Once a month, yeah.
Dope.
So
yeah.
Yep.
I guess I'm gonna go with a 1.5.
Yeah.
On that one.
I was gonna go 1.8. But
see, and I understand where you're coming from. The drunk patron being belligerent absolutely is a 1. There's especially about sports teams, whatever the sports team is, whatever. That is a 1 that earns that. However, the response, I can't escape you, right? I think at least puts that a 2.3 for me.
Okay.
Because having something that is equally respectful and witty,
right,
is a win.
That's fair. I'm gonna amend to a solid 2. I wasn't looking at the story holistically, so I'll put it at a 2.
Yeah, that's the thing we've learned over time, that these stories, they just start to compound.
Sure.
So some of them oh yeah, somebody came in and they peed on the floor. Okay, sure, that's a 3. But then they also were screaming and flipping the bird while they did it. Okay, that's more.
Right.
And then they tried cleaning it up themselves.
And then they fell into it.
Yeah, I'll do 1.8 because I agree.
Because it seemed like a very cut and dried, respectful, but also fuck you, dude, without saying fuck you.
Right.
I love a good way to say fuck you.
Passive aggressiveness is.
Well, no, I wouldn't have called that passive aggressive. I would have called that assertive.
That's true.
Because being passive aggressive would have been can I get you anything else? Are you ready to close up? I'm getting ready to close. Do you want to take your time?
No, you know what? Team A is fantastic. I don't know why I like Team B before. Team A is the shit. You just start leaning into that. No,
that would not be passive aggressive. That would be. I don't know what that would be.
Okay, well, you can call me
condescending.
No. I don't know anything about that.
Nothing.
All
Anywho.
right, Ian, you got a story for us to tell our wonderful listeners, that a story that you were either A, involved in, or B, a part of. Wait,
Yeah.
That's
So
the same thing.
yeah, I was gonna say that's okay. That's okay.
Or that you heard.
Witnessed.
Right.
Word. So it will be one that I was involved in. This happened. Oh my god. Maybe like 13, 14 years ago, something like that. But it's always stuck with me because this is one of my favorite like weird escalations that I've ever been a part of.
All right.
So I worked at a place for like the first 10 years of my career. I worked at the same place. I would moonlight at other places, but I had like a stable, right, that I was at. And this is when like PBR was making like that really big hipster comeback, which dope if you like it. I don't like it, but also my bar just didn't carry it because that wasn't what we had. You know what I mean? And so there was one random weekend night where I was just, it had to be a weekend because I didn't have a door guy. And I would just got my shit rocked for like 30 minutes, like out of nowhere, busy as hell. Cool, because you make money, right? So I just got done like basically clearing the board. And then I get down to these two dudes that were honestly like really cool. Like at one point, not very long before that, I was just like, I'm going to be right back, just hold on. And they were super like understanding, blah, blah, blah. I get back and I was, thank you guys so much. Like, no, it's cool. I was like, what can I get you guys? And I was like, I want a PBR. I was like, I am so sorry. We don't have PBR. Like, we don't carry it. And he goes, well, what do you mean you don't carry it? I was like, bro, I don't have time to lie to you. Like, I don't carry it. And then he's like, what do you mean you don't have time? I'm like, were you busy? I was like, bro, you were just here. Like, yes, I was too deep at this 30-foot bar for like the past 20 minutes. You know what I mean? And so out of nowhere, the dude just like gets loud, like just goes straight to like, fuck you, man. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, there's no reason to be like this, dude. Like, I just don't have PBR. I have other stuff that I can get you. Because pat myself on the back, it takes a lot for me to actually like get rattled, right? Because it's not worth getting upset about. And so he says a few other like really loud things, and eventually I'm like, bro, like, I don't know what's going on with you. This isn't worth it. You can't talk to me like that. Door's over there. And he flips his shit and goes, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I was just like, I'm standing behind the bar and I'm just like, what? And his friend like looks at him like, what's happening? You know what I mean? I was like, dude, just go. I'm not arguing with you about this. And he's like, what are you going to do? I was like, literally nothing. I'm going to call the cops and make them do it because this isn't worth my time. There are other places you can go. You'll be fine, And so blah, blah, blah. I can bartend while I'm on the phone. So it ends up like I have to get the phone. I'm on the phone with the dispatch. I'm like, got this dude being belligerent, doesn't want to leave the bar. I just need him to go. And this dude is so worked up that he's like screaming over the bar. And the dispatcher goes, is that him? And I said, yes. And she said, wow. And I said, yes. You know what I mean? And eventually like the guy's friend like kind of gets him out the door. Like he's doing the like, sorry. You know what I mean? So like, it's fine. Just, you got to go. You know what I mean? But that is the story about how PBR apparently almost got me killed, I guess.
Yeah. See, the title of that story, How PBR Almost Got Me Killed, is already worth a 4 for me.
Yeah, there you go. And it's not even what you'd expect. It's not like I drank fucking 12 of them and got behind the wheel of my car. Like, nope.
Right.
Or
I didn't even touch the stuff.
At your head.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, I wonder, like, now I'm just like, what made that guy, what set that guy up? I get it. You don't have PBR. Oh, no, that sucks because that's the only thing I drink. I don't drink anything else.
But to jump from
being cool
to I'm going to murder you.
Yeah, and I know part of it, like what really set him off was when I said like, it immediately happened when I told him like I don't have time to lie to you. Like that is really where he started like doing the whole like defensive type of shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I don't know what it was, like, especially in that town, like a big culture of that town for a long time was like, we are so much better than you because we only drink shots and beers. We're so much more fucking real. Right.
Oh,
and there was a lot that like wrapped up in it because it was a town where, and I don't want to name and shame it because they're doing great things and I still have friends there and all that, but it's more that at that time, it was one of those touristy type of towns where like, man, fuck tourists, but also like they paid 80% of our bills for everyone that lives in this town. You know what I mean? So like, I get it. But also, like, bring it down a little bit. You can move, recognize where we're at. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of like, if you don't kowtow to me, the local townie, which also they're all townies. So like, well, I don't know why I'm going to treat you better than other townies, right? Like that was the weirdest source of most escalations. There was like, oh man, I'm local. I was like, well, you're a local dickhead. I don't know what to tell you, but like, we don't need to do this. You know what I mean? I think that was a big part of it, is just like, maybe, nobody likes being told no. And occasionally like it just hits, you know what I mean? Like whether or not the response is rational when they're told no, that's another thing. But that seems like it's a big part of me, or a big part of like when I'm dealing with people that are having issues at the bar, is like, they just don't like being told no.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's just wild to me, because my entire life I've been told no. My parents taught me the meaning of no before I could walk. So like,
oh, for sure. Well, it doesn't mean you like hearing it, right?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, but am I gonna, but see, like there comes a point where you can be told no, but it's your job as an adult to not make it somebody else's problem.
For sure.
And you know what? Honestly, I think fuck you if you're going to make it somebody else's problem. You got told no, especially in this situation where it's like, oh, we don't carry PBR, but we carry probably 8 other domestics that taste almost exactly the same, just slightly different. If it's your first beer of the night, if it's your second beer of the night, nobody gives a fuck. It all tastes the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick something else, man.
For
Don't
sure.
make it somebody else's problem.
And especially too, it seems like there are some people that are just like kind of out to have a bad time anyway.
Literally.
You know what I mean? I used to work at this like casual fine dining spot. Like I only had like the day shifts there. It was a part-time gig for me. They needed somebody part-time. I told them straight up, I was like, I'm quitting in 6 months, because I had other things. Like, yeah, cool. This is perfect. You know what I mean? And like the amount of times that I dealt with people that were like, it was like the middle of the day, and like, I love my partner more than anything. She's the greatest person I've ever met, and I love spending time with her, and I wish I could spend more time with her. And just like thinking back to like people that like have these jobs, or like they have these lives where like they can just like go get like a fancy meal and a bottle of wine in the middle of the day, and then with your partner, and then you're fucking miserable the whole time. I never understand it. I never understand it, because like this is a really dope thing that most people don't get to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
It's some people just, they're not going to be happy.
Yeah. I can. I do it a lot, but like inside my head, I'm screaming like, is your life that bad? Or are you just determined to be a miserable piece of shit?
For sure.
You know, it's funny when like people will ask me like, we don't carry Bud Light. We don't carry any light beer. This one guy he didn't go off on me. He's just like, why not? I think you should probably carry something like that. I'm like, everyone carries that, man. I'm trying to be a destination where people can come and have something they've never had before. But he's like, what about someone like me who comes in? What am I supposed to drink? I got these 2 alternatives. You can try it, or I got water. I go, and I told him, like, look, man, I've learned in this industry, I can't make everyone happy. I will go bankrupt or hate my life trying to make everything happy. Because you see my cooler, ain't very big. I can't carry everything everyone wants.
Yep.
You know, like I can't carry High Noons, fucking all the other bullshit seltzers out there. I can't carry all this stuff. He goes, I get it, but I go, yeah, but here we are. But also it's like, what I hate is when they ask you why. Who gives a shit what the fucking reason is, man? I don't have it. I'm either out or we just don't care. What does the actual reason to you matter? It doesn't matter.
It's not going to change.
Right.
The answer.
It's not going to magically appear in my cooler.
Right.
It's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you asked the magic question. Now it actually is here.
Oh, hey.
But I get it. Sometimes they just want to like curious because like, oh, we don't just carry that because of this. Sure, I get it. But some people are just like, well, how could you be out of this? Because I sold fucking 4 cases of it yesterday that I never sell 4 cases in a month, motherfucker. That's why I'm out.
Because you really liked it and came in and drank 10. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the industry, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite one with that is like when people tell me that I need to do something. Like I worked before I'm at the spot I'm at now, I worked for 3 years at a craft bar that is run by a specific distillery. Santan here in the Valley. And we would get especially a lot because people were still learning the spot. It was off the beaten path, even though it wasn't downtown. So a lot of people, even, I was there for 3 years and we'd still get people like, I never even heard of this place. It's been open for like 5. Fuck. You know what I mean? But you get, especially for some reason, it was always Tito's. Like, I wanted Tito's and soda. I do not have Tito's. It's just what we have. Like, how do you not have Tito's? It's real easy. I just didn't order it, like we're going to be fine.
Vodka.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's that whole, like, it's that disbelief about everything that really gets me. Like, man, I need you to trust that, like, I got hired to do this stuff for a reason. And I didn't not order Tito's or carry Bud Light or whatever just to spite you. That's not why this is. I didn't see you coming.
Right.
Just, this is the way of the world, man.
Right. Yep. Because listen, as much as I would love to cater to everybody and to make you, to take your money, your $3 for a Bud Light or a PBR is not worth it to me to carry it in my cooler.
Yep.
And I think that's, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I think that's kind of a big thing too, like with the, you can't really cater necessarily to everybody. So like I said, the spot that I'm at now, it's a cigar lounge. We are really ostensibly, like, we are a dive bar where you can smoke, right? There's some preconception about cigar bars where it's like, it's very stuffy. Everyone's in their suits, like low throwback 40s jazz and all that. Very specifically not the place that I work. Right. And so I would have people that would come in when I'm creeping up on my 1-year anniversary, like this week at this place, that followed me from place to place. They'd come in and, they would ask me for very fancy things. And I'd be like, I don't have that. And it was always like, oh, well, why not? I was like, bro, read the room. Like, my favorite was like, so it's like, do you have chartreuse? I'm like, no, I don't have chartreuse. A, no one does. Like, none of us have it. You know what I mean? And B, like, that would be useless here, for lack of a better word. I don't serve a lot of last words here, which is literally the only thing that I think anyone here is going to order. Like, they had a paper plane on their menu, but I think it was because they were trying to push a different Amaro. They didn't have no Nino. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so a lot of it is just like, I really will. I'm going to try so hard to make you happy, so hard with what I have and all that. But you got to understand where you're at. You know what I mean? Right. I can't make all of that really cool stuff happen. And honestly, like, especially at the place that I'm at, like, they will throw me off the patio balcony if I try to make my bartenders do specific things. You know what I mean? Because it's where you're at, right? Like, just sometimes you got to read the room. And especially if you go to like a high end place and all that, like, or higher end or more elevated or anything, you can't get butt hurt when they don't have Bud Light. Like, you really should, like, understand what it is that they're doing. And if you didn't know, like, that's cool. Like, it is a little bit better to find a place than just finding it off of Yelp or Google or whatever, right? Like, I walked down this alley and this place looked cool as shit. I'm going to go check it out. But, like, if you wandered into, like, just some dingy, little dive bar literally off of an alley and you walk in, like, don't throw a fit if they don't have, like, I don't know, fucking Middleton or like Macallan 30 or something like that. Like, that's read the room. If you're going to slum it, go slum it. If you're going to be fancy, go somewhere fancy, and there are places that might be able to do the middle, but just take no for an answer, man.
That's when I go places, people are like, oh, when you go out to drink, how do you not drink fancy cocktails? I'm like, well, I know where I'm at, and I know a Jack and Coke is going to be a Jack and Coke here, and that's the best they can do.
If I'm going to a dive bar, I know that I've got a gin and lemonade in my back pocket.
Right. If
I can drink any shit gin with lemonade and tolerate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My old boss used to write a column for like a local newspaper that was called Bartender Wisdom. And eventually it turned into like a muse column because there's only so many questions that people can write in and ask before it's just a variation on a theme. Right. Mm-hmm. But one of them was like, hey, I'm turning 21 like this weekend. What advice do you have for me? And his was like, basically, be nice, have your ID ready, and have a backup order ready to go. Like, if you rolled in here and you asked for something like, hey, my friend drinks Naked and Famous, I want that. I do not have XY. I don't have yellow chartreuse or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Have your gin and lemonade as your backup. Have your Jack and Coke as a backup, right? Because this has only bit me in the ass once, but every time it gets somebody 21, what do you have? And they're like, or what do you normally drink? Like, I don't know, I just turned 21. Don't fucking lie to me. What do you normally drink? You know what I mean? And it got me once. I was like, don't lie to me. And one of his friends was like, no, literally, this is his first alcohol ever. I was like, cool. I'm going to gently guide you into this. I'm not going to. I love that place too, because we absolutely did not serve 3 wise men, 4 horsemen, any of that. Because I would tell him, like, dude, I want your birthday party to be dope. If you're going to puke, I don't want it to be here because I want you to come back. Like,
right.
Your friends can ruin your night somewhere else, not here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, just have that ready. Like, know where you're going to, and if your expectation doesn't get met because they just can't meet it, have another option.
Be adaptable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be willing to try something new. Don't get dead set in one specific thing. Be adaptable is pretty much like the guiding principle when you're going out. Because like you can go out to eat and the meal that you want is 86th. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? Throw a hissy fit?
Right.
Yeah, we always like when we're in a car ride going somewhere, we look at the menu, we pick 2 or 3 things out that we might want.
Yep.
And then we kind of let the night take us where it needs to go.
Well, and Carl has this uncanny ability. It's his X-Men mutant power to order the beer that just blew.
Heard. Yeah.
I'm really good at it.
It's wild. He told me it was a superpower and I was like, there's no way. And then three separate orders in a row. Oh, can I get this? Oh, sorry, man. We just blew the keg. Can I do this one? Oh, man. We just ran out of that one too.
We went to a spot in Des Moines called Iowa Tap Room. They have 100 beers on tap. It's all Iowa beer, right? Iowa beer. And I choose one, come back. Oh, it's gone. I go, okay. I choose the second one. She comes back. Oh, we just blew it. I go, I'm fucking 2 for 2 in a 100 beer place. And so when I tell other friends this, they don't believe me. Then we go somewhere. I did it at a bachelor party. They're like, "Nuh-uh." We went to Dave and Buster's. I ordered the beer, and the lady goes, "It's gone." I'm like, I looked at my friends. Fucking told you guys, I'm really good at this. But
have you considered threatening your bartender? Like, see if that made it appear. Yeah,
your bartender might be able to make that keg magically refill itself.
Yeah. Maybe I'll stand out of my chair super slowly since I'm 6'3". I'm bigger than most people, so I just like intimidate standing over them. Like, look, you should probably get me that fucking beer now.
Yeah, you have to advocate for yourself. Otherwise, what are you doing, man?
Right. I'm not going to get what I want. It's all about the customer, right? Customer's always right.
In matters of taste.
Yeah. All right. So on that story, what do you rate your own story? 1 through 4.
So honestly, I didn't want to think about this to see if I would have like a snap number. You know what I mean? Like knowing how the podcast works and all that. And I like to give myself like the kind of like gut hypocrisy check and all that. I want to put myself at like a 2.5, which I know is kind of like a dick move to be like, I went on your podcast and gave you a semi lackluster story, but here we are.
We don't need
no. Fair enough. Because one big thing for me, and one thing that I really try to like instill in people that I'm training, like I train people on the door first for a really long time, which is the most important aspect of de-escalation, right? I would tell other bartenders like, hey, remember all that shit we dealt with? Everything our door guys dealt with was worse. Like these are the people that could get in here. You know what I mean? Right. And so I really do like going back and being like, did I really need to say that? Was my tone correct? My tone's generally correct anyway, because I really don't get like that flustered about it. But like I do get lippy, and I did get punched a lot initially as a door guy because I ran my stupid little mouth. You know what I mean? And part of it is like, I always will center on that, like that moment that it switched, right? Like I could have just said, yeah, man, I'm sorry, I don't have it. But no, I had to try to be fucking cute. But also like, I am kind of funny, right? So it's not really my fault that this guy didn't see the humor in it. You know what I mean? But I think, and especially like having worked with so many different types of bartenders, so many other bartenders, but especially working with women in places that are like that, like, yeah, for me, a dude flipping out over something so fucking menial, like, yeah, it's over a beer, right? But like women bartenders have it so much fucking harder, because I have also been called a bitch, but I don't think that guy was going to follow me home. You know what I mean? He's just trying to emasculate me, right? Where it's like, I have been punched. I've had shit thrown at me. I had a girl spit in my face once. You know what I mean? But like, those are very like really specific things that I can remember. Whereas like for the reality of especially women bartenders, like that's the kind of shit they got to deal with nightly, right?
Right.
Like that dude getting that worked up about that, like I probably didn't deal with another incident where I had to call the cops for like another 12 months. Like it was a
Right.
very like standout kind of thing. Whereas my women coworkers constantly would have to deal with people flipping their shit only because, I mean, let's be honest, it is because it's a woman. They didn't do anything different. I'm not a big dude. You guys both will tower over me when we meet in person. You know what I mean? But like the fact that I have a beard and I am very obviously a male presenting person, like I get away with a lot more. And so I think that for just the sake of it, like, oh, a rational guess, like I want to say like the story's pretty far up there, but like for a lot of bartenders, like this kind of like disgusting fucking like escalation is way too common and like way too culturally ingrained. So I'm gonna give myself maybe like a 2.3, 2.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Damn, he's just like, you kind of convinced me out of the number I was going to give it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what?
Well, hang on. Because I have worked behind a bar and I have actually also received death threats on numerous occasions.
Wow, am I the only one that I haven't pissed off enough to get a death threat yet?
I received death threats while working with kids in psychiatric inpatient.
Right.
So I received death threats on the daily there. But I did receive, I think, 2 death threats at the Mexican restaurant. Yeah. One was because we didn't have Hennessy.
Heard.
At a Mexican restaurant. What? How dare you not have Hennessy?
One was because we charged like $18 for a jumbo Patron margarita. I'm like, 18. Granted, this was years and years ago, 10-ish years ago. It was highway robbery and they were going to kill me. But I still think that was not the norm. So I still would give it like a 3.5. Because like anytime you receive a death threat is like somebody lost their mind. You don't just threaten to kill people.
Right.
For sure. And like, so, and where I'm coming from too is like, so how long did you work at the Mexican restaurant?
A year.
So and that's kind of where it is for me is like, you worked there for a year and I worked at this spot for 10. You know what I mean? I had one story out of 10 years. You had 2 over 1. You know what I mean?
My best story from that. Those aren't even my best stories from working there.
And like, even then, like when I did, because I did start on the door there. Even then, like the only time that I got out and out assaulted in a way that was like not just restraining a guy, like I got punched because the dude missed the other bouncer and punched me instead. You know what I mean? And it was like it was always a little bit like, I don't know, it's just I always felt like I'm not, like I said, I'm not scary by any means, like in person. You know what I mean? But when my coworker needed somebody, who's like, Ian, you go talk to this person. You know what I mean? It's just like, now the dude's here. Now I'm going to be calm. It's like, fucking why? Like, I'm not telling you anything different than she's telling you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
My score was going to be like a 4.3. I've never been threatened in my.
Oh, I wonder why.
Because I'm cute and people love me.
I will come to your bar and threaten you.
So, yeah, do it. Please.
I'll do it. I'll get you up there.
Every day.
With a good time.
Yeah.
But you're 6'3", your voice is super deep and loud.
Mm-hmm.
People are afraid of you, even though you got crickets. Crickets for arms.
So
you're an intimidating person.
But also, like, I think it also has to kind of deal with the type of places I bartend at, right?
That,
like, for the most part, I've only bartended at like higher end establishments. Not saying that shit can't happen in those spots, because anything can happen, especially at the Remote Lounge where it was inside a hotel. But I think people just act a little bit not better. Yeah.
People don't threaten other people at high end places.
Right.
People are just dicks in a different way.
Right. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3.7 because the guy was nice at first, and then just all over a
Flip
PBR,
the switch over a PBR. Yeah.
over a $2
See,
piece
that's
of
why I was
beer.
at a 3.5 because like over a PBR, I learned to drink PBR and enjoy PBR because it was $2 at the bar.
Right.
That's the only reason I started drinking it, because it was the cheapest beer you could buy.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. It's just funny, like how people just react over like the little shit that doesn't matter. Like even if he's been having a bad day, like come on, dude. But at least his friend kind of acknowledged to you that he knew his friend was in the wrong, you know?
Right.
Yep. I don't think I've ever had. I'm trying to think of like any situation I've ever had at the bar where it was the entire group. I think I can think of one in particular, but even then like the entire group of 12 ended up like eventually leaving, not as fast as I would want them to, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it does seem like generally, and it is the way that you approach it, like I've gotten more apologies from other people's friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the time.
And
Listen,
what I mean,
I know they're being a dick right now, but like they're not like this all the time. I'm so sorry.
oh, for sure. And I think honestly, one of my favorites was like, and it happened on a pretty regular basis, is like, you know, they're all leaving and like somebody be like, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm like, just so you know, I am kicking your friend out. You're great. Do you want to stay? You can stay. And it happened more than once where like the entire group would be like, yeah, fuck you. We'll find you somewhere else. You know what I mean? And I think that is a really big part of it, which is why like I'm always like, sometimes I'm really careful about hearing random war stories. And I think we can identify, like all three of us, with like the type of burnout bartender where there's always some kind of like one up, you won't believe how extreme this dude was that I met with. You know what I mean? Because there are, for as long as I've been bartending, and like I said, I got punched a lot for being, or like all that for being lippy, right? And there is a point where it's just like, did you handle this like that way? You know what I mean? And I've never tried to like second guess, like, especially my coworkers or people I'm training, like, you should have done this better. You know what I mean? Like, we all have things get the better of us. Like, I have mouthed off before in a way that I really shouldn't. You know what I mean? But like, there is like a measured, like calm, like appropriate response that we should like kind of try to aim for, because, you know, we shouldn't like give away who we are. This is a job.
Right.
It's not our life.
You have to disassociate a little bit.
For sure. And you shouldn't be taking it home. And part of it is like, I feel like a lot of people that are prone to like taking it home with them and holding on to it and not being able to let go are also the people that have like way more issues at work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't ever want to victim blame. Like, nobody has any right to talk down to you or call you names or assault you or threaten to assault you or anything like that. In that same hand, like, did you do everything that you could to not make that happen?
Right. If your customer comes in wielding a blowtorch, you don't come at him with gasoline.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And sometimes they'll sneak up on you, right? Like this guy was, like we're talking about, like he was really fucking cool until I made my stupid little joke. Right. And, you know, sometimes you can't always tell, but also like, you know, you can definitely think back on things where it's just like, bro, that was a stupid thing to say. I remember one coworker in particular, like I said something, so he got all pissy. He looked at me, he was like, straight up, he's like, "Are you fucking serious?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "No, that wasn't the move, man." I was like, "All right, thank you for telling me, because that's how I'm going to learn." I had another coworker too, where it's the same thing, where she snapped off in defense of me, but like she only heard half the story, so there wasn't actually anything going on. You know what I mean? And like afterward, I looked at her, and she's like, "What?" I was like, "She didn't need to do that. Like everything was cool." She's like, "Was that too much?" I was like, "Yeah, it was too much." You know what I mean? Like, I get it. And it's really hard, especially because, you know, we want to like take care of ourselves and everyone else, but, you know, staying calm, because ultimately that is what makes it easier to diffuse situations, right? Like, I know when I've lost control, when I swear at somebody, when it's a tense and like interaction.
Right.
Thankfully, I know that about myself. So if I'm like, you know what, dude, like, fuck this, as soon as that comes out, I'm just like, it's a deep breath. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and it is being firm and standing your ground, and hopefully you have people around that'll help out if it does go completely off the rails, because that will happen. You know what I mean? But there is a lot that we can do to kind of like inform that, like, our job is to throw a party, and sometimes you can't make somebody's party happen for them. You really can't.
Right.
And then they're just at the wrong party. And it's your way to like express that and make sure that it's handled correctly that really does you like everything in the world,
Right.
Yep, for sure. All right, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Right? All
Yep.
right. Like you've never heard that before.
Not once in my life.
Matrix reference.
Okay.
Yeah. So anywho, we appreciate you being on. Where if you want people to follow you on Instagram or any other plugs, what do you got for us?
Yeah, find me at Black Apron Cocktails on Instagram. And if anybody is listening that is in the area, I have a pop-up coming up that I'm really excited about with me and Tiki Dam. So tiki.dam on Instagram. We are doing a punk rock theme pop-up at Puro. It's at the end of November. I want to say the 26th, and I'm only hesitating because we had to bump it for various reasons, but that's coming up. It should be really, really cool. So if you're around, check that out.
That'd be like let's see, the 29th is a Friday, 28th Thursday. So that'd be a Tuesday then?
That sounds right.
Cool. Yeah. If you guys go check it out. Go say hi. And just remember, don't be a dick, tip your bartenders, and drink responsibly.
Yes.